with another video. We're actually going to be looking back on a game that I've already played because I wasn't able to talk at the time that I played it and when I recorded it. So this is my first playoff matchup against Jahnavi, and I really didn't know what to expect out of this. I had never played against Jahnavi before. I've played against her sister, but that's it. Yeah, I really didn't know what to make of this matchup. I really just wanted to get the first game behind me, get ahead in the series, and hopefully be able to put it away. At the gate, I was thinking through a lot of things. Like, I like the 8-5-10, I like the 4-8-11, but ultimately I decided with the 6-5-10. I just think that the dev card resources there, that's just a really strong spot. Um, I had ideas of going to the north up there on the 8-4-11 to follow it up. Um, Obviously, I would love to get road materials, so the 6-4-3 or the 6-4-2 is really nice. I'm leaning towards the 6-4-3, and I'm kind of sitting here thinking, I don't think the 6-4-3 is going to be there, so I kind of have to have an alternative approach because to me that 6-4-3 is too good of a spot for John Bond to pass up. And after some long thinking that's going to happen here, I had to start stirring my plans. And the one thing that I really liked here, um, I'm on the 6 sheep, and the sheep port is on the sheep 8. So this was a little bit interesting of a board. I actually thought that John Bond was in a really good place to take over this game because there's the 6s and 8s. There's a 6-8 sheep, and the sheep port is on the 8. And then there's a 6-8 wood with the wood port being on the 6 wood. So there was a really good chance to control the port game. And so my mind was racing on, okay, what if they place the 6-4-3 going towards the wood port, and then they place the 8-5-3? Or alternatively, they go with the 6-9-12 or the 6-3-12, and they place the 8-10-11 building towards the sheep port. And my mind was like, okay, what am I going to do if that's the case? And ultimately, I have to make a decision on that. And we're seeing John Bond taking the entire time to put down the first placement. I ended up choosing a similar dev card spot up on the north side, building to the sheep port. And I personally was not a big fan of that play. I understand getting the dev card resources, but if you were going to do that, I think it makes more sense to go on the 8-4-11 building towards the sheep port and then eventually get to the 9-10-11. I'm more than likely not taking that 9-10-11 from you because I already have those resources, and I got to figure out my wood and brick game where I am never going to maneuver. And so I think that I wasn't a huge fan of. I think at this moment, I thought the 6-4-3 was the most likely spot to combo with. My thought process here was, now that she played the 9-10-11, is it worth me just going on the 8-10 to block her off, and then I'll have the sheep port, and that's that. I'll play through the 6-8-10 sheep, and ultimately she plays the 6-4-2. And 6-4-2 is great, but I don't think that 2 brick really offers a lot to you. You start with a road, which is cool, so I'm like, okay, sheep port game is over. They get the road, and then immediately they're going to build the road towards the 8-10 sheep and ultimately expand to the sheep port, and that makes sense to me. That's what I'm thinking. So I thought, okay, well, let me get the good sheep number. Or I could get this 4-3-11, really stockpile the ore, or I could stay down in this corner on the 8-5-3. And ultimately, I have to make that decision. The 8-5-3 would be hard because I have no brick. I have exclusive rights to that 8-5-3 too. I could always build to it. The 3-4-11, I would go ore heavy, but then I feel like I would get blocked a little bit on my sheep and I would have a hard time. So ultimately, I went 8-4-11 up at the top, and I seceded the sheep port, and I built away. And I was like, okay, she's going to put down the road here, go to the sheep port, and maybe down the line, I could go around the outside and sneak it before she can. But I don't think that's going to happen. So an early 7, and that's always good because she didn't pick up anything. I pull an early dev card tonight. That's great because now, whenever I do get something down, I have time. And that's very big in this format is holding off that point because of the fact that the friendly robber is on. And so you're going to see a bit of pocketing cards until I can really make a decent move that I feel comfortable with. Um, I'm getting some decent rolls out the gate, but really, if I can't get any wood, I can't do anything. And I roll another 7, and it's gonna be just a night trade on where it's placed, and we're just gonna see it go up at the top. I have an option to pull a dev card here, and ultimately, it's either I save for a city and I just bank on the 10s, 11s, and 5s getting there, or I pull the dev card searching for a road builder or a year of plenty or a monopoly. And that's ultimately, I feel, what I need in this situation. I don't think that I'm going to be able to do much unless if I could get to the 8 wood or if I could somehow win the race to the sheep port. And in my mind, I was very shocked by the road on the 9-2 because I feel if I get the sheep port, I win the game. The 6 and the 8, you can't block them both. I'll have the 10 to supplement it, and eventually I could get to the 11 sheep. And in my mind, that is too terrifying, way too much to be on all 4 sheep hexes. And ultimately, I pulled the VP, which I'm a little upset with. Early game, it's nice to get things that you could use later as any type of game. Almost like um, the VP is kind of a letdown because you can't do anything with it. Like it's good that I could pocket a point and that's what it is. It's also not shown, so the robber can't hurt me yet because I only have 2 points shown. But at the same time, there's much more value in any of the other dev cards. So I'm a little upset by that, especially because I'm banking on a 10 and an 11, and I got a 10, and I felt pretty good about that. And it's a very slow start to this game, and I'm really just banking on a 5. I need a 5. Let me get going. Let me pull a dev card. Let me do something that's going to benefit me. Um, I get an 11, and really just everything needs time to develop. John Bond's holding 7 cards, and I'm really not getting a hand that I could do anything with. That's the problem. But I know that if John Bond plays down a settlement, I can at least start blocking with the robber, and that would be really good for me to be able to block off income and then eventually steal cards from her, and she builds the extra road. And again, I understand the value of the 3-1 port. I just think that it's a later play. I think that getting down the settlement for the 5-9-2 is more important to me. Because then you get more materials, and eventually you're going to be able to build to that port anyways, or you could build around to the wood port, to the wheat port, and I get another wheat. I pull a year of plenty, which this, in my opinion, was the biggest thing for me to pull, because immediately what that allows me to do is I'm going to take 2 wood, and I'm going to punish what I felt was an early blunder, and I'm going to get straight to the 8-10 sheep. And now you're cut off from that entire side. I have exclusive rights to that sheep port for the most part. And that is awesome. And now I have an option. Pull 2 dev cards or city. And now in my past games, I coughed at this moment. I said, oh, it's a mouse slip. But I really like my prospect. If I could city my 6-5-11, I'm going to have a lot of dev cards coming my way. And I think that having the 6 and the 8 sheep, I'm likely to get another sheep to be able to do what I need to do. And ultimately, that's what comes. That was the ideal roll. I have 9 cards in hand. I can't be hurt. And I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to 4-1, pick up the ore. And to me, it's kind of a no-brainer which one to city because I, I forgot that. So I was worried about a 7. And so I said, you know what? Let me pocket the city for a turn. And it ended up paying off because the 7 was immediately rolled, and I kind of wanted to just hold that point knowing that I had it and knowing that I didn't really have a card bulk anyways, and I was worried about my 5 getting blocked. So I really wanted to build up a tiny bit towards what I could do to get the settlement materials and then build the city. And we see that John Bond places a settlement, and that was kind of my cue. I said, okay, you're able to be blocked now, so now let me build, and at least if you put it on me, I can knight it off, and then still have some sort of gain. So I thought that that was like a a prospect for me to gain on. Um, Now I'm just waiting on a wood, waiting on that painful 4-1. And it's miserably not coming. Jambon takes the road early, and I don't really have any ideas of getting the road yet. It could happen later. I get my 6 and 8s, and ultimately I place on the 8-10, which to me, I feel like I have won the game at this point. I have the sheet port, I have the 6, 8, 10. I have everything that I need. I just got to get to the sheet port. And once that sheet port is built, in my mind, it's GG. Um, the question I have to answer for myself is, do I want the sheet port first, or do I want to get to this 853 or the 810 wood port? And that's the question that I feel I need to answer right now. And if the roads go the right way for me, as I'm going to pull a dev card because I don't need ore right now and I had an extra wheat, um, it's just extra protection for me. I pull a knight, which is awesome. It gives me a better shot. They settle, which just answers what I need to. I didn't like the idea of the 4 being so strong for them. I didn't like the idea of them getting 2 brick. I really felt like I needed to limit their movement as much as possible. Rolled the 7 right away, and then, moved over to that 6. They rolled the 7, blocked me, but luckily I had another knight in pocket, and we're going to go right back on the 4. And the 4 is like my money block to me because I'm going to force you to roll that 2 brick or the 3-1 to get your brick. I'm able to get the road and the settlement. Now I have a 3-1 port on top of everything that I already had. And at least I could 3-1 my sheep to get to where I need to go. Tens are money rolls for me. I get 3 ore on the 10 now, and I could not think of a better life to be in. And I'm also now on the 8. Um, the 7 again just blocks the 6 and limits their ability to expand, which I always think is important in this game mode. I got the medley of cards, and ultimately, I'm going to keep fishing. I'm going to continue to fish because knights are so powerful. I have a year plenty in pocket for if I need a road or if I can't get a wheat or something. And this way, I'm almost definitely going to be able to settle on that sheet port. As I see a city get down on the dev cards, and I think at this point I had a little bit of a thought that maybe I should not go directly to the sheet port, but secure the 311 or the 6-3 or the 3-411, and that way I can kind of up my resource production for the 3-1 port temporarily, and that way I'm not in as much of a need for the sheet port. I'm already going to get the sheet, and they block my 10. I immediately move it off. I don't want to deal with this at all. I don't want my 3 to be blocked. I'm a little worried about the weak port. I mean, the 5, 9, and 3 are strong, but I think that my build in wrapping the sheep resources was better. And again, I think that's where the 5-9-2 should have been a settlement place. I get the settlement. I get the city materials. So I mean, if you could city, might as well city. And I also pick up the knights on this turn. Tens are hot. Tens are so cool, and a 5 is a city for me. Or 2 dev cards. Or 2 dev cards. Um, and now I have a bit of a predicament where I have 10 points, and I just build a road towards the sheep port. I can't be hurt over there. That road can't hurt me in any way, so I might as well do it. And I'm also just going to grab 2 wood, and that allows me to build the road. and then I have the 3-1 port, so I 3-1 my ore, and bang, we're on the sheep port. And in my mind, this game is over. I get another 10. Beautiful. Hit me up with the 5, and I'm citying my 8-10 because I have the sheep port. And at this point, like, John Bond's threatening, but I just feel like I have such a dominating lead, and I don't think that you could block my 8 and my 6. And if you do block my 8, I still have a knight in the pocket. So like, there's so much I could do. 5 is a beautiful roll. It sets up the city or the double dev card. And again, I'm faced with this decision of what do I do? Do I double dev card or do I city? Sorry. Um, Once again, just I don't think that there's a lot of prospect to putting the city on the 8-10, but I just felt like there was more to having an extra knight in hand or pulling a road builder. Just something I could do. Right now the 3s and the 9s are kind of my issue because of the wheat port, so that's where my mind has shifted to blocking that 9. It's been rolled a decent bit. I don't eat on the 9 personally. They block my 8. I don't like my 8 being blocked. I'm gonna go back to the 4 again. I don't like them expanding. I really like being able to block the 4, and it's not really working. I block there, but every time I block the 4, the 2 has come, and if you're gonna gain from the 2 anyways, it's kind of pointless for me. Um, I'm gonna pick up a wood, and I'm going to decide to hold because if I could get another wood, I have a road builder and 2 more roads, and that allows me to do so much more with my turn. Um, and I have the ability to take another city, and I'm going to city that 8-10. Again, it would just, there's so much power on that city, so a big time for a 7. I'm a little worried because I don't have a knight in pocket now, but on the bright side, John Bond had 10 cards and has to discard 5. So at this point, I have the Road Builder play available, but I also have a Monopoly. And I want to keep I want to keep an eye on Big 7 right away, block off that 4. Um, I'm keeping an eye on resources. I don't want John Bond to get too much of any type of resource because at this point, with a 3-1 port and the 2-1 wheat, as you see, picking up 3 wheat right there on that, I have a choice. Once again, do I pull a dev card? Do I city? What do I do? And I felt like that was too much wheat to pick up. I didn't want to give them a free resource along with a wheat, knowing that I can city. Um, and again, I look at the city and I say, you know what? Why get 1 point and city something pointless on the side that's going to get blocked at some point when I can road in settlement and I can land on the 311? I still get a point, and again, I am a road and a road builder away from connecting and being at 14. So now the 9 is a clear threat if I can't block that 4. There's not much I could do besides dev card. I pull a knight, which is great because now I have protection on the 7. And it's really just a matter of time. And the 8 is the ideal roll for me as I pick up 5 sheep and 1 wood. I'm going to be able to just set up, and I could pull a dev card here. I could. I have a little bit of a choice of what I want to do, but ultimately, you know, trade out all of the sheep and get 3 materials towards the city. Or just pull a dev card. It would have been fun to win on a VP, but it's a matter of time, and any sheep roll here wins the game. So I'm just, I'm gonna knight. I'm gonna hope to pull a sheep. Didn't do it. That's fine. I have a road. Might as well build it. So I build it away just because I can extend my road as far as possible. 7 gets rolled. I get blocked, but again, I cannot click the knight fast enough. I just want it off of me immediately. We are a sheep roll away from a win, a wheat roll away from a win, and ore roll even does it. So there's a lot, and it's really just a matter of time at this point. So I'm going to knight, I'm going to block the 4, and there's the wheat roll, and very simply place the city and take the W in game 1. We look at the dice stats, a decent spread, not really a lot of 8s, which is interesting because that's what I really built on. I wrapped at 8, but I got enough of them to where it mattered. The card disparity, 124 to 95, and we pick up a clean win in our first game, and that's awesome. So now, looking forward into the next one, we already picked up a win, we just got to win one of the next 2, and we move forward to play in the next round. If you like our videos, make sure to subscribe, like, hit the bell so you know when we post again, and we'll catch you in the next one.